All right, guys, so got something pretty cool for you today. It's a new firearms review. This one's been out on the market for a number of years now, but it's a really cool product, and there's something extra cool about it. So take a look at this thing. So this thing's pretty cool. There it is. It is a double stack 1911, and this is the TCM. So this is from Rock Island. So this is the TAC Ultra high capacity HCFS. It's the full size, all kinds of things that they put on these things. So you can see in here the M1911A2 FS TACT MM, which I believe means micro mag, but I'm not sure about that. So it is full size. It is the HC, which is the high capacity, and it's a really neat gun. I'll tell you, when I first saw these, the width of all of this, and now this is years ago, kind of turned me off. I was not used to the 2011 style frame, the bigger grip. Now this one is all steel. The whole frame is, there's no addition, and really, you know, some people say, oh well, this is a double stack 1911 because it doesn't have a modular frame system, but technically all guns are double stack 1911s if they're double stack and they're 1911s, and they're not 2011s because they're not staccatos. Now, if you do have a staccato, you have an actual 2011 because they trademarked that name. So there's a little bit of confusion on what's an actual 2011 and what's not. But pretty cool. I've gotten used to this, and the more that I've looked at it, the more I've actually grown to love it. I actually really like the way this gun looks. The more and more that I just have ruminated over it and enjoyed pictures of it and looking at it, so like that. It does have a straight ball cut here, which is kind of nice. You've got the dust cover with the rail on it, skeletonized and adjustable trigger, skeletonized hammer. You've got an extended safety here, a standard GI slide release. It does have a nice beaver tail with the added pad there with some marks on it there. You've got some marks here, a little bit here. I kind of wish that they had wrapped something around through there, but that's just my personal preference. It does have a nice big flared mag well on it, and these look like they could be Checkmate mags, and that might be who makes them for Rock Island. It does say 9mm on it, but what's cool about this gun is all kinds of features, all kinds of things are put on here. You can run 9mm technically in this, but you need a 9mm barrel. This one does not have the 9mm barrel. What it has is this right here. Look at how cool that is. This is the 22 TCM, which is about the same as a 9mm, but it's not exactly the same. But it is a 22 cartridge on the end there, and this is the jacketed hollow point. This is actually the TCM 9R. So these fit in the shorter cases. It is the exact same length as a 9mm. So you can see there's a 9mm beside it, so it fits in a 9mm gun, which is why 9mm would fit in here. But you see the cartridge is slightly smaller than a 9mm. So most people think these are like neck down 9mm cartridges. They're not. These are actually these right here. This is a 223 5.56 cartridge. It's actually a neck down 5.56. So, and you can actually take 5.56 cartridges and cut them off and then squeeze them, neck them down, and actually run that. So you still run a 223. This is actually a 224, I believe, but it's extremely close. Still a 22, like 40 grain bullet. These are a little bit bigger than that, but lots of powder, lots of flame, very little kickback. Just like a 223 doesn't have hardly anything. Neither does this thing, and it's a big, heavy frame. Big, huge fireball coming out of it. That is a really sweet looking round. It's a wild looking round. So the normal 22 TCM was not available. So those, I've got some of those coming in, but they look a little more pointy. They come out a little bit further, the 22 TCMs do. And this is, like I said, the 9R. So you can get these fairly cheap. You can see there, it's like 26 bucks for a box of those. Sometimes you can find 100 packs of 22 TCM, which is, you can find them a little bit, about the same price. You can find 100 packs, which is nice. This thing does come with 3 mags, which is cool. So you got 3 different magazines here. You've got the inspection card here, and you've got one of the, well, actually there's a couple shells in there that they actually shot through this gun, which is really nice. That's something that really high-end the gun manufacturers do with a lot of this stuff right here, which is pretty cool. You got a chamber flag in here, and then under the foam, you've got some paperwork and a gun lock and all kinds of fun stuff on that side. But this thing is a really good looking gun. It's got a nice look to it. It does have nice front and rear serrations in here, and they're good and sharp. You can actually grip those very easily, very little pressure. It does have like the target style adjustable rear sight. It's got some serrations in the back to knock down glare on there. So it's a really neat gun. It's got the G10 grips on here. These are actually kind of soft. They're not super grippy, but as big as this gun is, and as big as my hands are, it actually fits this gun very, very well. So I can get a really good grip on there, and it just lands perfectly for where my hand is. So the slide on here is super smooth. I mean, it's really, really smooth. And the trigger, super nice. Look at this. So there's the fire. Here's the reset. Watch this. Very little movement, and then bam. So that's a really nice trigger. It does have a little bit of movement here. Like, again, it is adjustable. So we can move some of that around and get some of the over travel out of there. It is a ambi safety, which I don't think I mentioned a minute ago, which you got both sides on there. Ambidextrous. This thing just feels really good in your hand. Everything moves really good, nice and smooth. I'm excited to take this thing out and put some rounds through it. And never shot this before, but it's supposed to be really loud, really big fireballs, and just a lot of fun to shoot. So I'm kind of excited to be playing around with this thing. This takes down like a normal 1911. It does have a full-length guide rod, which some people hate. Nice big bull barrel on there. Obviously a tiny cartridge, so you're gonna have a heavy-duty barrel. So really cool. It's a really neat deal here. So we're gonna take that out, pump some rounds through it, and go from there. All right, guys, so we got the 22 TCM out here, ready to shoot it. Got the mags loaded up. These mags are actually 17+1, but with the 22 TCM, you can actually run 19 in here, which is kind of nice. It is tight though. It is really tight. So that might goof it up some when it tries to feed the first couple rounds. I don't know that it will, but they fit. So we'll see what happens. Here, get this thing up in there. I kind of like the longer mags because you get this thing up in there and it's almost flush with that, but it definitely works. Let's see what happens. There we go. Nice. It's shooting pretty good. I've not adjusted anything, and most of those were right on target. Some of them are a little bit high, but all of that looks really good without having any adjustment at all. And I'm probably not going to adjust it because I'm pretty happy with that. Let's shoot some more rounds through there. Man, I'll tell you what, the concussion on this gun, you can feel it woof, woof, like really blowing back. And it's making an impressive fireball. I don't know if it's catching that with the light. I may try to get back here in the shade in just a minute and we'll run off just, you know, typical stuff, blow through some ammo. But it feels awesome. It's staying right on target. It's crazy because you can feel how powerful and how heavy of a round it is, but it's not shooting that heavy at all. It's pretty neat though. This round is pretty much average 2,200 feet per second, where an average 9mm is like 1,400 feet per second. So this thing's moving out. Now a typical 223 is like 2,800. So it's definitely faster than a 9mm, not near as fast as a 223, but it doesn't have the same amount of barrel length or power, right? But yeah, this thing is insane, and it's running super smooth. God, it feels good. This thing feels good in your hand, but it feels really cool to shoot. And I just noticed, oh, we got a full perfect 10 down there. And if you can see that, look at that, right in the middle of that tin, nice big spot there. So that looks good. So this thing's really right on target. And I'm sure it's a better shot than I am, much better. Because as most of y'all pointed out, I don't know how to stand, I don't know how to hold a gun, I don't know how to fire, but we're still getting on paper. So that's all that matters. So anyways, let's shoot off some more. There it is. There's the end of that mag, locked back well. And it shot through all 19 perfectly. So you can run these 19+1, which is nice. And that's a very sweet gun. Man, that slide just feels so smooth. It's amazing how smooth that is. And it really doesn't have very much play at all. It's something we didn't talk about up there, but there's really very little play. It's not my Nighthawk, right? It's not perfect, but it's really close. I mean, it really is. Out of all of the gun manufacturers out there, for the price, you can't beat a Rock Island. I mean, you really can't. And there's so many nice guns out there. I've got a bunch of 1911s. I've had a bunch of 1911s. And I love them all, but man, Rock Island really does a sweet job. They just do a really, really good job with their guns here. So let's shoot some fast stuff through it.
HiRevz Media is sponsored by Born to Ride Motorcycle Magazine. Check out borntoride.com.